Imagine for a moment that every event in your life, every triumph, every failure, every moment of joy, and every instance of despair were destined to repeat themselves infinitely. Picture a reality where you are trapped in an unbreakable cycle, reliving every action and consequence, every decision and its aftermath for eternity. This is the essence of the eternal recurrence, a philosophical concept famously proposed by Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche's thought experiment challenges individuals to consider whether they would embrace or dread the possibility of reliving their lives, exactly as they have already experienced them an infinite number of times. The eternal recurrence is not merely an abstract idea, it is a profound psychological challenge that forces individuals to confront the meaning of their actions and the weight of their choices. It compels us to ask ourselves, if my life were to repeat endlessly, would I be content with how I have lived it? Would I make different choices? Would I despair or find purpose in this realization? This concept invites deep existential reflection, acting as a moral and psychological test that encourages one to strive toward a life worth reliving. The thought experiment of eternal recurrence extends beyond mere philosophy and delves into psychology, ethics, and personal growth. It has the potential to reshape perspectives on responsibility, self-improvement, and happiness. Through an in-depth exploration of this idea, we can uncover its implications on human behavior, decision-making, and emotional resilience. This discussion will analyze the eternal recurrence through five key perspectives: its existential significance, its impact on decision-making, its role in personal responsibility, its psychological effects, and its implications for modern life. Each section will explore how this concept, though originally a philosophical proposition, remains a compelling framework for understanding human psychology and the pursuit of a meaningful existence. 1. The existential significance of eternal recurrence. The idea of the eternal recurrence is deeply tied to existentialism, a philosophical movement that emphasizes individual freedom, choice, and responsibility in shaping one's life. Nietzsche introduced this concept as a way to challenge individuals to live authentically and embrace their existence with full awareness of its consequences. In essence, the eternal recurrence serves as an existential mirror, forcing one to assess whether their life is worth living in its current form. This notion aligns closely with the existentialist idea that meaning is not given to us but is something we must create for ourselves. If one is confronted with the idea that their life will repeat endlessly, the responsibility of finding purpose becomes even more pressing. The burden of choosing a path that one would willingly live over and over again emphasizes the existential demand for self-actualization. This idea suggests that if we truly engage with the thought of our lives being on repeat forever, we must take ownership of every decision, every moment, and every relationship we foster. Nietzsche's perspective was that only those who can affirm their lives, accepting every joy and every hardship, are truly free. The eternal recurrence challenges individuals to embrace amor fati, or the love of fate, which means accepting life as it is without regret or desire for change. If one can welcome every event as necessary, they have achieved a profound sense of existential peace. This acceptance requires an inner transformation, one where individuals do not seek to escape suffering, but instead integrate it into their understanding of a well-lived life. This perspective has parallels in existentialist thought, particularly in the works of Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus. Sartre's concept of radical freedom suggests that individuals are wholly responsible for their actions, while Camus' idea of the absurd highlights the necessity of embracing life despite its inherent lack of ultimate meaning. The eternal recurrence thus serves as a psychological test. Can one live in such a way that they would be content with endless repetition? This question compels individuals to evaluate whether they have made peace with the past and whether they are actively constructing a future that aligns with their deepest values. However, this concept also presents a psychological burden. The notion that one's failures and regrets will be relived eternally can evoke despair. For some, it may lead to existential anxiety, a feeling of being trapped in an inescapable cycle. The challenge, then, is to reconcile with one's past and make choices that one would willingly repeat. This requires an honest and often painful assessment of the moments we would rather forget. Yet it is in this confrontation that true self-awareness emerges. Ultimately, the existential significance of the eternal recurrence lies in its demand for deep introspection. It urges individuals to re-examine their lives and decide whether they are living in alignment with their true values. The question then arises, if we were to live our lives an infinite number of times, would we choose to live differently? This question is not meant to instill fear, but rather to ignite a passionate engagement with life, one that inspires courage, creativity, and authenticity in our actions and decisions. 2. The impact of eternal recurrence on decision-making. If one truly embraced the idea of the eternal recurrence, how would it change their approach to decision-making? The realization that every action and consequence will recur infinitely introduces a heightened sense of accountability for one's choices. This perspective forces individuals to consider whether their decisions contribute to a life worth repeating. Many people make choices based on short-term desires or external pressures, often without deep reflection on their long-term consequences. However, if one were to live under the assumption that every decision is eternally consequential, it would likely lead to a more deliberate and intentional way of living. Ethical considerations would take on greater weight, as one would strive to avoid actions that could lead to regret. This means that everyday choices, from how we treat others to the way we invest our time, take on a profound significance. This thought experiment encourages a shift from impulsive or indifferent decision-making toward a more mindful and purpose-driven approach. People would be more likely to prioritize meaningful relationships, personal growth, and ethical integrity if they knew that they would have to relive the outcomes of their choices indefinitely. In a world where distractions and fleeting desires often dominate decision-making, eternal recurrence invites a return to deeper contemplation and self-awareness. In practical terms, the eternal recurrence could serve as a guide for making significant life decisions. When faced with a choice, one might ask, would I be content with making the same choice forever? If the answer is no, it may be an indication that the decision is misaligned with one's true values and aspirations. This simple yet profound question can act as a moral compass, guiding individuals toward actions that promote long-term fulfillment rather than immediate gratification. Moreover, this framework could be particularly useful in overcoming fear and hesitation. Many individuals avoid taking risks due to fear of failure. But if life is bound to repeat, then every attempt, every failure, and every success is inevitable. This could encourage individuals to embrace challenges and take bold steps toward their goals, knowing that inaction is also a decision they would relive eternally. Accepting eternal recurrence means accepting that our failures and triumphs are equally integral to the richness of life's experience. The concept of eternal recurrence thus fosters a deeper awareness of personal responsibility. By integrating this perspective into everyday decision-making, individuals can cultivate a life that they would willingly choose to repeat, ultimately leading to a more authentic and fulfilling existence. By living in a manner that welcomes infinite repetition, we embrace not just responsibility, but also the freedom to live intentionally and without regret. 3. The role of eternal recurrence in personal responsibility. The concept of eternal recurrence forces individuals to confront their role in shaping their lives. If every moment is destined to repeat indefinitely, the responsibility for each action, thought, and decision becomes magnified. This notion eliminates any escape from accountability, as one cannot attribute their circumstances to fate, external forces, or random chance. Instead, it underscores the idea that individuals are the architects of their destinies, responsible for the construction of a life they would be willing to relive eternally. A major implication of this thought experiment is that it demands radical self-honesty. If one acknowledges that their choices will have to be endured forever, it becomes necessary to reevaluate one's values, priorities, and behaviors. This perspective encourages a more deliberate approach to life, pushing individuals to make decisions that align with their highest ideals. Rather than seeking excuses for failure or hardship, eternal recurrence invites individuals to own their past, present, and future fully. Furthermore, this concept shifts the focus from external validation to internal fulfillment. Many individuals make decisions based on societal expectations, cultural norms, or pressure from others. However, if one is to repeat their life endlessly, the opinions of others lose their significance. Instead, the emphasis is placed on self-determined values and intrinsic meaning. This realization compels individuals to act in ways that bring them genuine satisfaction and purpose, rather than conforming to transient social standards. Eternal recurrence also serves as a powerful motivator for ethical behavior. If every action and its consequences must be endured repeatedly, individuals may be more inclined to treat others with kindness, fairness, and integrity. Moral considerations take on a heightened importance, as any harm inflicted upon others must also be relived eternally. This perspective encourages greater empathy and accountability in personal and professional interactions, reinforcing the ethical dimensions of responsibility. At the same time, this idea confronts individuals with their past regrets. Many people carry unresolved guilt or remorse over past mistakes, yet eternal recurrence suggests that these events are inescapable. This can be a daunting realization, but it also presents an opportunity for reconciliation and growth. By accepting past failures as part of an unchangeable cycle, individuals can focus on learning from their experiences rather than dwelling on regret. This mindset fosters resilience and self-acceptance, ultimately leading to greater personal freedom. One of the most profound lessons of eternal recurrence is the importance of consistency in action. If one were to live the same life repeatedly, the pursuit of discipline, growth, and self-improvement would become essential. This perspective encourages individuals to approach life with intentionality, making each day meaningful rather than allowing it to pass unnoticed. By adopting this mindset, individuals cultivate a greater sense of purpose and direction. Finally, the notion of eternal recurrence serves as a reminder that time is not to be wasted. If every experience is destined to be repeated, it becomes imperative to make choices that contribute to long-term fulfillment. Whether it involves cultivating meaningful relationships, pursuing creative passions, or engaging in acts of service, this concept urges individuals to live in a way that they would gladly repeat for eternity. The psychological effects of eternal recurrence. From a psychological perspective, eternal recurrence presents both challenges and opportunities for personal growth. The idea that one's life will repeat endlessly can evoke a range of emotions, from anxiety and despair to motivation and empowerment. How one interprets this concept largely depends on their outlook and psychological resilience. One potential psychological effect of eternal recurrence is heightened existential anxiety. The realization that every joy, failure, and hardship will be experienced again and again can lead to feelings of entrapment or helplessness. This thought may be particularly troubling for individuals who struggle with regret or dissatisfaction, as they may perceive themselves as prisoners of their past choices. Such a perspective can create an overwhelming sense of burden, making it difficult to move forward. Conversely, this concept can also serve as a catalyst for profound personal transformation. If every experience is inevitable, individuals may be more inclined to embrace their circumstances rather than resist them. This acceptance can lead to a shift in perspective, where challenges are viewed as necessary and meaningful, rather than as obstacles to be avoided. By acknowledging the inevitability of life's struggles, individuals develop greater emotional resilience and a deeper appreciation for the present moment. Another psychological effect of eternal recurrence is its impact on self-perception. If one is confronted with the idea that their current existence will repeat indefinitely, they may be compelled to evaluate whether they truly like the person they have become. This can lead to deep introspection, prompting individuals to make changes in their behavior, mindset, or lifestyle to align with their ideal selves. This process of self-examination can be uncomfortable, yet it is also a crucial step in personal development. Additionally, eternal recurrence encourages individuals to cultivate a mindset of mindfulness. Since every moment will be relived eternally, each experience takes on heightened significance. This awareness fosters greater appreciation for everyday life, as even the smallest interactions and choices become imbued with meaning. Practicing mindfulness in this way can enhance overall well-being, reducing stress and increasing one's sense of fulfillment. Moreover, this concept can inspire individuals to pursue their passions with greater urgency. If one is to relive their life indefinitely, there is no justification for postponing dreams or delaying personal aspirations. This realization can serve as a powerful motivator to take action, overcome fears, and fully engage in life's opportunities. By internalizing the principle of eternal recurrence, individuals may find the courage to pursue their most authentic desires. Lastly, the psychological effects of eternal recurrence depend largely on one's interpretation. Those who view it as a curse may feel trapped by their past, whereas those who see it as an opportunity may feel liberated to live with greater intentionality. By shifting one's perspective, eternal recurrence can transform from a source of anxiety into a tool for self-empowerment and meaning-making. 5. The implications of eternal recurrence for modern life. In today's fast-paced world, where distractions and superficial pleasures often dominate, the concept of eternal recurrence serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of living with purpose. The modern individual is often consumed by the pressures of work, social expectations, and technological overstimulation, making it easy to lose sight of what truly matters. By applying the principles of eternal recurrence, individuals can cultivate a more deliberate and meaningful approach to life. One major implication of this concept is the necessity of prioritizing what truly brings fulfillment. In a society driven by consumerism and external validation, many individuals pursue success, wealth, and status without considering whether these pursuits align with their deepest values. Eternal recurrence challenges this mindset, urging individuals to reflect on whether their daily routines and long-term goals contribute to a life worth repeating. Another modern application of this thought experiment is in the realm of relationships. In an era where social interactions are often shallow and transactional, the idea that one must relive each relationship endlessly encourages deeper emotional connections. This perspective fosters greater authenticity, empathy, and commitment as individuals become more conscious of how they treat others and invest in their relationships. Additionally, eternal recurrence has significant implications for mental health. Many individuals struggle with feelings of regret, dissatisfaction, or fear of the future. By embracing the idea that life's struggles are inevitable and necessary, individuals can develop greater acceptance and resilience. This shift in mindset allows one to approach challenges with a sense of purpose rather than avoidance, ultimately leading to greater psychological well-being. From a broader societal perspective, the principles of eternal recurrence encourage ethical leadership, responsible decision-making, and sustainable living. If individuals and societies operated under the assumption that their actions would be repeated indefinitely, they might be more inclined to act with integrity, environmental consciousness, and long-term thinking. Ultimately, eternal recurrence serves as both a warning and an inspiration. It challenges individuals to live in a way that fosters personal growth, ethical responsibility, and deep fulfillment. By integrating this concept into modern life, individuals can cultivate a life they would willingly relive forever, ensuring that each moment is meaningful and intentional.